Here we go. Right, lovely. So I've now got about 6 screens open, but I think we're just going to go live and see what happens. Right, so Christine, well, here we are. We might be on a minute or so early, I think, but welcome, welcome, welcome to Mondays with Miriam. Right, do you know what? We're on episode 29 or other already, and we are down under today because Enyo is in Australia and I am here with the lovely and amazing Chris Rippon, who I'm privileged to call my friend. And I'm just going to, Chris, while we're just getting ready, see, I believe that we are streaming on here, and I'm hoping that that means that people will also be able to ask questions at the same time, if technology works. All right, so who would know if that happens or not, but I think it should do. Right, so welcome everybody. I could tell you that Chris is anywhere because she's got this fantastic background, but she really is up in the middle of the night, and she's going to explain in a minute where she is. But if you're new and you've just stumbled across this live for the first time, my name's Miriam. I work with Enyo in the UK, so we're a chemical-free cleaning system enabling you to clean just with cold water around your home, which is obviously better environmentally, better for your health. It's better for your pocket, and it gives you fantastic results. And I've been working with Enyo now for about 6.5 years. But very soon after I started working with Enyo, I went over to Austria and I met the beautiful Christine. So Chris, could you just introduce yourself? Because although you come on the lives on a Monday, all right, people won't know who you are. So can you just tell us a little bit about you?
Good morning, Miriam, and thank you. And it is a privilege to be on, but more so a privilege to be your friend, sweetie. Yes, I was born in South Australia, that my home state. I've come back to retire to. Previously, though, I'd married and lived in the Western Districts of Victoria and have 2 beautiful children. For many years, I'd suffered skin allergies and rashes and often nasty headaches. So slowly the anaphylaxis attacks crept in, which was scary, as I lived 45 k's from a doctor, let alone a hospital.
So the anaphylaxis, was that all related to chemicals that you were using around the home?
Around the farm especially, and then I did a quality assurance audit on my farm and realised, why aren't I doing this in the house? And I realised that it was a combination, but a lot of the chemicals used on the farm were not healthy at all. So I then fine-tuned everything down to being naturally derived as much as possible. And if it wasn't, I had contractors come in to do it. So yes, I had 4,500 acres all up, and 12,500 sheep. So and cattle, 800 head of cattle, and the different chemicals that we used. And even though I was meticulous in the way I handled them, my skin didn't handle it at all. Right. Yes. So yes, since 2013 though, I've lived here in Mount Gambier, and if you can see the backdrop here, that's exactly as it's looking today when daylight happens in about 2 hours time. It's 4:30 Australian, South Australian time.
That's and commitment, Chris.
If you look over my shoulder, there's a little red roof down the bottom corner of the camera, and that's my house there with a 1 acre garden. So yes, I'm retired now, but I'm still out on the land, but I'm only about 3 kilometres out of the beautiful Mount Gambier city, right down the very bottom of South Australia, quite close to Tasmania if you look at it sea-wise. So yes, right at the very bottom, and we've got the most magnificent volcanic region. There's a small volcano in the background. The last time the volcano...
Oh, Christine, I've lost you.
I live on the farm.
I lost you there. Can you just say that again?
Yeah, the last time the volcano here in Mount Gambier, which I'm sitting on the edge of, erupted, was 5,500 years ago. So if I disappear, it might be one big bang, but never mind. I don't think I know much about it.
Let's not do that in the next half an hour, hey? All right.
Well, there's about 30,000 of us here in the city, so there'll be a lot of people go up with me.
And that's the ocean behind that we can see.
That's the ocean behind, yes, yes.
What a view. Gosh, that's
you all
incredible.
the way to Tasmania and then to the Antarctic, so we do get some cold winds.
Yeah, I bet you do. All right, so let's, because I'm really fascinated about your Enyo journey. Obviously, we met when we were in Austria, and I love the fact that Enyo connects us across, well, all these miles, and here we are, friends still today. So Enyo came to Australia, when was that? 1994, so just 4 years after Enyo started in Austria. But when did you start using Enyo?
Well, I first saw Enyo products in a relative's home in Adelaide, and that was in 1998. And she knew about all my allergies, and so she gave me an Enyo dust glove. But of course, she didn't demonstrate it like an Enyopreneur would, so I brought my brand new glove home, and I was actually disappointed when I did get around to using it. But after I washed it, just by chance, you know, you do wash things when they get dirty. After I washed it, oh, it was amazing. And it turned out when I started, and I could never work out why, wouldn't it work to start with? Then when I washed it, it did. It turned out, as you and I know, they spray a little bit of fabric dressing on it during the manufacturing, so the fibres don't spray around in the machine size. And yes, in the earlier days especially, we were instructed to wash our fibres first, but having not been to a demo, I didn't get that information. So, so 1998 was probably the first time I really got to see Enyo full stop. Yes.
So you saw it in your relative's house. You start off with the dust glove, but what took you on then to? Well, you must have obviously got more Enyo after that. So how did you go about that? What happened?
Well, because there was no Enyopreneur near me, my cousin just kept supplying me at my will and when I could afford it, because being a farmer, you tend to buy anything other than something for the house that cleans. Yeah. So soon after I got the confidence with the dust glove, I said to Jen, I really would love your floor cleaner, because I had lots and lots of polished floorboards in the homestead on the farm. And it made such, once I got it, it made such light work of cleaning my floors. I couldn't believe how easy peasy it was. Yeah. So bit by bit, as money became available, I continued to buy more Enyo via my relative, and then I gradually built up a supply. Probably within 18 months, I had basically what you call now the full kit. Yeah. So I can't believe.
And you were saying that you were potentially, you know, you could have suffered from anaphylaxis because of all the chemicals on the farm. Did you start to notice an improvement in your health? Could you notice the improvement in your health as you started to remove the chemicals from your home?
Absolutely. And probably one of the most strangest one was the bleaches and things that I got rid of. And even though you don't get them on your skin, you inhale them. And that was my problem. It was things that I was inhaling. So when you sniff an Enyo glove or whatever, there's only water on it. And that's the thing I love about it. There's no, because people say, oh, but I like to smell clean. And I said, will you tell me what clean smells like? I'd love to know, because clean to me is no smell. And that's basically how I've always worked on it, because if it smells, it's got something in it.
Well, that's very true. That's amazing, though, that you were able to make that transition into your home. But I think what you were saying earlier about, you know, you had all these chemicals on the farm, but you hadn't, and you'd start to remove those, but you hadn't really transitioned into the home. And I think so often we compartmentalize, don't we, about, well, this is that area and I would juice it over here, but I don't really need to think about anything over here.
That's right. And I never read labels properly. You know, I just read what the main word was on it and maybe the expiry date, but not even stick to that at times. So I was my own worst enemy. So, yeah. So the first time I saw Enyo demonstrated, though, was not until 2002. And that was a funny one, because it was a next door neighbour on a farm who rang me up and said, Chris, have you had tea? And I said, don't worry about it. I'll make you toasted sandwich. Get over here quick. And I said, what's wrong, Sarah? She said, I've got an Enyo demo and there's only one lady able to come at the last minute. So quickly brush the hair, didn't even have to do And off I went to this Enyo demo. I didn't even take my purse. And to see it demonstrated, it was an absolute light bulb moment for me. I just realised how much I was not using my products correctly, or how many other products there were out there that could make my life even easier still. So that was it. That was a big light bulb moment.
And was that the point when you actually decided yourself that you wanted to join the business, or did that come later?
No. I was, I had a little farm then, and I was quite happy. No, it wasn't till, probably about 2008 when I was thinking, well, I'm going to slow down a little bit, because I built this little farm up. I'd since sold my main farm, and I'd gone down to only about 40 acres instead of 4,500. I'd gone down to about 40. And, it was only I started to sort of start tick, 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 time's going by, you can't keep working this hard. So I thought, I wonder what I could do that I would love, that I could work from home with. And I had several Enyo demos at my place, because I just kept showing people through a lady who was coming into the area. She was travelling about 250 k's to come and do demos. Wow. That's dedication for you. And so through her, I would have extra demos at my house, because a lot of people didn't like to have a demo in their own home. They were too embarrassed. Didn't worry me. I was just happy to show people. So about 2008, so I worked, I'm thinking about it, but didn't say anything, kept looking at demos, seeing how people were working. But it was in 2011, late 2011, that I actually joined up, because it just suited what I wanted to do at that particular stage in my life, when I only had about 6-7 years of, real work left in me. I promised myself that I'd worked so hard as a farmer for all those years that I deserved to have a bit of time off to see the world. Yeah. But I never realised that Enyo was going to help me see it so beautifully. Yes.
So tell me some of the places then that you've been away with Enyo when you worked with them.
Well, we're very fortunate, and I'm because I'm retired now, and forgive me if I'm misquoting now, but in my time, for the 6-7 years that I was with Enyo, I was allowed to fly to meet up with you in Austria, and we did our international headquarters tour there. We were there, 5-6 days? Yeah. Absolutely fabulous. Highlight of my life. Unbelievable. Loved Austria. Treated like princesses, weren't we? I won't say queens, princesses. It was just fabulous fun. But from there, I was allowed to travel anywhere. And as soon as my return trip started, Enyo paid for my return trip. So I was able to see a lot more of the world than I would ever have been able to afford, because it takes us 12.5 hours plus 13, 26 hours to get to London flying.
A long time.
12.5 to Singapore, and then 13 hours to London. Yeah, so it's a long way to just get there. I think it's 4 hours flying over Australia just to start with, just to get to the top of Australia. It's a big country.
Yes, I know that kind of helps put it into perspective a little bit, hey?
Yeah, so that's why I went on to Scotland and did the tour, and met up again with the gorgeous Miriam up in those beautiful Orkneys. Another big highlight. And from there around France, and then from France was flown home by Enyo. Another trip, Paris. That happened within 14 months of me joining.
Yes.
Excuse me. That was a challenge I set myself. I heard all these girls that have been in Enyo for years saying, so I want to go to Paris with Enyo. And it was in winter time. And I went, oh, wow, how good would this be? So I thought, okay, per month, gradually build your business up. And I was doing it all from home, Miriam, as you are. Mm-hmm. And it was just because there was no Enyo in my area. So it took a lot to convince some people. But once people realised and got the feel of the glove, that was the big thing. Here's the original glove. Okay, that's it. I don't know if you can see that.
Virtual. Oh, yes, there you go. Oh, hold it a bit closer. You've gone virtual. Oh, yes, there you go. Okay. Oh, wow.
So once I, oh gosh, I've lost my train of thought there.
You were saying Paris, you were working from home and sharing it with people.
Paris was my goal. So month by month, I just set these goals. I stuck to them. Unfortunately, I was unable to be at the conference where it was announced, because I was looking after my dying girlfriend, bless her. I got a phone call at about 11 o'clock one night with all these Enyo girls celebrating. It was in Sydney. Chris, you're coming with us to Paris. I thought they were all, you know, tipsy. And I said, I'll have another one for me and I'll come another time, you know. And I said, no, it's true. And it took 2 phone calls to convince me that I was actually going to Paris. It was wonderful. And I met so many people.
Isn't that amazing how you can really scale up the business to suit you? I mean, that's certainly been my experience, and that's great that that's your experience right the way across, you know, the other side of the world, that this business has no limits. You can be flexible to make it the shape and the size and as much or as little as suits you at any given time.
Yes, and truly it was, I think I walked around with my mouth open the whole time in Paris. It was just such an experience. I just felt I was, you know, we were in a 5-star hotel right in the middle of Paris, just the most unbelievable trip. But from there, I went on to Italy with a girlfriend from Enyo. She was actually my team manager at the time. And we toured Italy, and then Enyo flew us home. So there was another extension that Johannes, bless him, and Enyo International permitted us to do. And that was just a whole new world to me. So yeah, very spoiled.
Oh, well, isn't that lovely though, like these memories and the connections with people right across the nations. I love the way that there's a real Enyo family in that. Yes, and it really is, yes. Genuinely.
Look, we've got Joe and Audrey and Gladys, and Bill over there with you, and you know, there we are on Facebook, and that's just a small part of my Enyo friends. And despite me retiring, people are still happy to chat to me, and I love chatting to them. So yes.
Oh, fab. So Chris, I should say, because I can't quite see here, but if you are watching us live on Facebook, if you do have any comments, please comment away. And although I can't quite see those live, but we will pick both of those up, Chris and myself, and we can just respond if you have any questions, particularly for Chris. So I want to know what you enjoyed most. I know you've spoken about the travel, but in your role of sharing Enyo on a day-to-day basis, what was it that gave you the most sense of, the biggest sense of satisfaction, the biggest joy as you were working in your role as an Enyopreneur?
Oh, without a doubt, the making of a difference to people's lives. That's what I enjoyed the most. That warm, fuzzy feeling. You know what it is. The hairs on the back of the neck stand up when you see somebody go, oh my God, I can use that in the living room, or oh my gosh, I can use that in the stables, or my gosh. And it's that light bulb moment that you permit other people to share with you, and sharing and caring is a huge thing with Enyo. I feel that I felt privileged to be helping people improve their lives. So it becomes a generation thing. Our young grandchildren, they don't even know what bleach is. In my family, I've got 4 grandies. None of them would know. If you said to them, go and get the bleach out of the cupboard, A, there's no bleach, but B, they had no idea what bleach is. We've really been able to make their lives that much more stable health-wise, but also financially. Once you buy the Enyo, you know, yes, you upgrade it, but you can still use the older fibres, Miriam, as you know. And when I was farming, you know, the old gloves, I didn't throw them out, no, because Enyo recycled them, or there's another word to use now, I'm not too sure. Upcycle's the word. But on the farm, I would get a glove that was still working quite well, but just not what I just wanted it to beef up a bit. So I'd use it on the tractors or the motorbikes or the horse float. I had a horse float that I had decked out beautifully with Enyo in later times, and I don't know whether you even know that, I used to tow the horse float around to all the markets and agricultural shows, and my whole Enyo display was set up on the sides of the horse float.
Oh, fantastic.
And just like a mobile tent or marquee.
Yeah.
But I was so lucky because all my products were clean, they were on display. And if the rain came, I just up with the tailgate, down with the tail flap, and everything would be cleaned on. Everybody would be running around putting plastic tablecloths over things. And I was standing there thinking, oh, I'm a bit spoiled, aren't I?
Do you know what? You've really you reminded me of something that happened actually. It will have been on the trip where I met you in Austria. So that was very soon after I'd started my business. It was probably only about 8 to 10 weeks after I started that I went out to Austria and I met you. And I remember being a bit in awe, actually, of all these people who have been in the business for a while, big names that I'd heard of, but also that you guys had Enyo for such a long time. You know, you'd already had it for like nearly 20 years in Australia. And I remember sidling up saying, well, do you know, do the fibres really last? And you know, is it really gonna, I don't want to go and sell it if I actually, after 2 years, they're all going to disappear. And I remember people saying to me, oh, I've still got my hardware, I've still got my floor system that I had, you know, I bought 20 years ago.
I've still got my old floor cleaner from 1998, 99 probably was when I bought the floor cleaner. I still wipe my veranda down with it. I've got a timber decking out facing up to the volcano, and I use that every day at the moment because I've got little blue wrens that come in and leave their little messages for me, their little calling cards. So that's still being used outside.
Well, that's incredible. Isn't that incredible that? You know, that's what I love. When we were doing the question and answer last week and people saying, oh, is it really made in Austria? Is it really this? And I remember Johannes talking to us on that trip actually saying, I want you to have real pride in what you're going to share with people. And this is a high quality product. It's all made in Austria, the raw materials, the manufacturing process so that we can control it. And there you are, you know, 25 years later and it's all still working and it's all still doing the do. I think that's incredible.
Yes, it's quite amazing to see those products being made in international Enyo.
Yes,
I was so keen to see for myself, like you asked lots of questions. I was fortunate because I'd used it for so long, okay, because I started using it in 1998 and there I was in 2014.
Yes,
that was when we were in Austria together. So I was so fortunate to have used it and know that it lasted. But it is unbelievably powerful fibres and the fineness of them. I couldn't believe shutting my eyes and feeling all these balls of fibre. And, you know, it's that, no wonder they are called microfibres. They are minute. It's a very clever technology and well done to Johannes and his dad. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Utterly indebted daily, actually. Yes. So on that note, because I'm sure you've been in many varied situations, do you have a memorable clean that you could share with us?
I've got two.
Okay.
One where some little babies, 3 houses in a row, 3 families bought blocks of land, built houses, built these beautiful homes. They were just good friends and they wanted to live together here in Mount Gambier. And these 3 babies all grew up together. And as they started to crawl, they started to get rashes around their face, on their elbows, arms, and their knees, their toes especially. They couldn't work out what was happening. They all had polished boards. Finally, after trying lots of things and complaining actually to the building company, people came to me and said, can we try some Enyo? I said, certainly. I'll bring around some fibres and you can play around with them. So they played around with them. We tried the first house. And the second house said, oh, I'm not really sure. And the third house said, definitely want to give it a try. So I had 2 houses that did and 1 that didn't, purely as it happened. So, and it was really a good way because eventually they worked out they were all using the same cleaning liquids that had a certain amount of almond oil in it.
Okay.
All I was using, or all they were using, was the Enyo fibres and water. So the 2 houses each side, their babies' faces and arms and legs cleaned up very, very quickly. The one in the middle was just the same. They suddenly twigged that Enyo was successful. I'm not too sure whether they actually set me up so that they didn't use the middle one. They wanted to test it.
Yeah.
Doesn't worry me, because I had a feeling that it must have been something they were putting on the floor. So that was a great success story, that one. The second one was over in the Western Districts. Arrived at this lady's house, saw this gorgeous couch sitting on the veranda. I thought, oh my gosh. Walked in, started the demo, and I just said to her, if you've got anything that, you know, you really want to work on, because we've done the the introductions. And so we worked on the bathroom and the windows. And then one lady said, "What happened to your couch, Anita?" And she said, "Oh, that's a story. Grandson here last weekend got a pack of highlighters out and he scribbled all over a beautiful cream lounge suite, 3-seater lounge. The couch, I don't know what you call them in England, but we call them lounges over here. And anyhow, went out in the brand and the lady peeled off this rug. Oh my goodness, had he done some fantastic artwork? And I said, "Would you like me to try some Enyo on it for you?" And she said, "Oh, it's going to the tip, Chris." I said, "Oh no." She said, "No, we'll take it to the rubbish tip." She said, "You'll never get that off." Well, I worked on just one cushion and the armrest, which were the worst. I had no clean fibres because I'd been doing all the demoing. So the last glove on the top of the pile was the bathroom glove. Out with some Enyo paste, just gently massaged it, let it sit for a minute, not wet, just sprayed a little bit on the glove. I've always been a glove sprayer. Don't believe in the tap one. That's a bit of a naughty girl with Enyo over here, but they are slowly changing because by spraying on the glove, you can monitor the amount of water you use. So spray on the glove, wipe with a little bit of marble paste. I did 1/3 of that couch, and Audrey just looked at me and she said, Anita just looked at me, she said, "I cannot believe," she had tears rolling down her face. We finished it by the time the demo had finished and the afternoon tea had finished. Everybody was out there doing their little bit. We had it absolutely clean. So out with the leather and wood balm and the polishing. It was dry enough to do it. Probably not as dry as I'd like it to be, but it was pretty well dry. And we carried the lounge back in and had a bubble to celebrate because she just had tears. And so that's probably the most memorable moment. But the one with the little children's knees and faces and things with what they were ingesting off the floors, into their mouths, through the dribble, off their knees, was just amazing.
Transformational. That's amazing, isn't it? I love what you were saying earlier about just really, because I was going to ask you about the next generation, but you've answered that in just a beautiful way, talking about how this is all that your grandchildren are going to know. What a legacy for, you know, what you've made that decision from moving into farming to work with Enyo latterly, you know, and what you've passed on. I just think that's really inspirational.
Yes, well, when I sold my large farming enterprise in 2000 and moved over to the Western Districts to the little 40-acre farm, we started having droughts. We had 9 straight years of droughts. So water was a scarcity. But people, when they use chemical, they have to wash it off, or they're meant to wash it off, okay? Anything you clean with, you're meant to wash it off or wipe it off, one way or the other. But because people were using chemicals, they were using a lot of water to get rid of it, okay? Whereas just with Enyo, spray, instead of using buckets of water, I was just using a little bit out of the little spray bottle. But people were saying, "Your floor's not clean, that's not clean." I said, "Well, I'm sorry, but it is. You get down there and crawl around on it, show me a dirty hand or a dirty knee." They couldn't.
Oh, Chris.
So saving water is a big.
It is huge, and huge for you. Can you believe that's our half an hour? Yeah, I know. Could we not
clock goes very fast on Mondays?
16 more years. But before you go, because last week, and actually we're going to do some more next week as well. So we've had people send in lots of lovely questions. So we did some of those last week. I'm going to do some more next week. I think there might have been some more for another week because they're all coming in thick and fast. If you are yet to send your question in, you are not too late. You can still do that. So we're going to do one prize draw tonight, and I'm actually going to do one next week. So Chris, can you choose me, my lovely, gorgeous guest of honour, could you choose me a number between 1 and 20? I'm looking up over here because that's where all the names are written. Can you do me a number between 1 and 20, please?
I was going to choose my birthday. It's the other side of it. So I'll go for number 17.
Number 17. Lovely. So the winner of one of these, all right, you can choose which one, is the lovely Laura Cromarty. So Laura, thank you so very much for your question. And that was when we were talking all about frequency of washing our fibres. So thank you very, very much for that. And we will have another one next week. And you've heard Chris talk tonight about, I suppose, some of the benefits, the things that you really enjoyed about your work, the satisfaction, the seeing people's lives changed, saving money, traveling with Enyo. All these things are still possible, even within present constraints. If you want to hear a little bit more about Enyo, then on Monday the 28th, Enyo UK are doing another live event at 8 o'clock, and you can tag in and just have a look. And you will, I'll put the details on my page as well, but you might just choose to have a look and see if Enyo's a fit for you. And this month only, you can join for as little as £49. So it might just be worth a chance to see if this is something that even fits alongside what it is that you're presently doing. And we only have, what are we, the 21st? My goodness, we're hurtling towards the end of the month. So if you are yet to still enjoy this lovely pack, then you still have time to do that until the end of the month. Oh, I love it, Chris. It's a great pack. I know. Aren't we lucky in the UK? But Chris, thank you, my beauty, for getting up in the middle of the night to take the opportunity to talk to us. I really
absolutely
thank you very, very much, and such a joy to have you, and I love you very much. And I look forward
to say thank you for having me, but also please everybody stay safe over there. Australia has had a bit of an upset in Victoria State here, and my whole family are tangled up. I haven't seen my children since Christmas Day, let alone my grandchildren. At that second lockdown, you've really got to get that head around it. It's a lot harder than the first. So please encourage everybody to stay safe. It's so important.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, my lovely. Sleep well and have a lovely day. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And I look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be going back to our normal live format. But thank you very much and have a great week, everybody. And talk to you soon. Bless you, Chris. Thank you very much.